Jeremy, you've just announced a whole new approach to mental health. One of the commitments you're making is that fewer people with mental health issues will end up in police cells. So where are they going to go?
Well, what we need is to look after them in the NHS. Good morning, Robert, by the way, and thank you for inviting me onto the programme. I mean, at the moment...
But where are they going to go in the NHS? Because, you know, the NHS doesn't have the beds, it doesn't have the... Where?
Well, that is why we are undergoing probably the biggest expansion of mental health anywhere in Europe at the moment.
Well, you're undergoing it, but I talk to mental health doctors and they say the money is not getting through to them.
Well, if you look at the actual facts in terms of the money, an independent NHS report a couple of months ago said that there's 1.4 billion more being spent on mental health compared to 3 years ago, about 120,000 more people.
It's been allocated, but is it getting through? As I say, I talk to mental health doctors and they say their resources are not increasing.
This is actually what's being spent, and we're actually treating around 120,000 more people a year. But what this is really about today is if you are a parent who has a child with some really serious psychological illnesses, what you want is for that child to be treated by the NHS. But too often what happens is that the first line of help you get is from the police service, and you can end up being in a police cell, and that can make the condition worse.
It's appalling, isn't it?
It's obviously bad for the police. And so what we need to do is to improve what we call in the NHS our crisis care response, to make sure...
So how quickly will you be able to provide alternative facilities so that the police do not lock up vulnerable people?
Well, we are making good progress.
But how long?
Well, we said that between now and 2020, in order to deliver this commitment, that we will recruit an extra 10,000 professionals into mental health services, because it's not just about money, it's actually having the people who can deliver the services you need. But this will mean that we have to do crisis care better, and this is part of what's called parity of esteem. So we changed the law in 2012, and we said that mental and physical health should be treated equally, what's called parity of esteem. But at the moment, if you have a mental health crisis, you don't get as good care as people who have a stroke or a heart attack.
This terribly important, and if you talk to mental health campaigners, they were shocked when, with your reforms, your proposed reforms to the personal injury payments, that they said discriminated against people with mental health issues.
Well, we listened very, very carefully to what they said, because we absolutely want to make sure that doesn't happen. But there's another...
Well, they fear it is happening.
Yeah, but there's another... I mean, if we talk about discrimination against people with mental health conditions, that's something else that Theresa May has announced today, which is another type of discrimination, which is 1 in 6 of us has at any one time a mental health condition, depression, anxiety, and it hits anyone. I mean, it doesn't matter, you can be successful, have a happy family life. These things really just come out of the blue. And what is awful is some people find they lose their job because of it. And the reason for that is that you're only currently in the law protected against discrimination if it's been a continuous mental health condition for 12 months on the trot. And obviously for a lot of these conditions, they come and they go. So Theresa May is saying today she wants to change that.
So how will you change it? Will you set up the equivalent of the kind of commissions we have for gender inequality and race inequality? Will there be a body to which people can complain if they feel they're discriminated against?
Well, I don't think this is about more commissions. This is about the law protecting people against discrimination for a mental health condition in the same way it protects you against discrimination if you're disabled. And why is it that this is important? Because Theresa May, when she was on the steps of Downing Street, when she became... Let me just finish this.
Sure.
She said that she had an economic mission, yes, to deliver the best deal for Britain on Brexit and protect people's jobs, but also a social mission. She used the phrase, a country that works for everyone. And clearly at the moment, if you have mental health problems, we are not doing as well as we would like to. Although it has to be said, many people would say we have some of the best mental health provision in Europe, but it's still not good enough.